As-Salamu Alaikum. As-Salamu Alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you everyone. Welcome to Islamic Learning with Masjid As-Sabur. I am your host now, Adrian Jasper, and this is Nailah and Zarinah, and we are here to do another segment of Quranic Expressions by Muslim Women, a series we've been running within this series. And Masjid As-Sabur is located at 4926 15th Avenue off of Stockton Boulevard, and our website www.masjidassabur.org. So visit us there, and also visit our Friday prayer services every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Everyone's welcome. Come on out and learn. So some new business. Imam Hazm, who is our traditional host, who has been on hiatus, our Imam also the Imam of Masjid As-Sabur. He, yesterday, we were having a meeting at our mosque, and he turns and he says, Sister Adrian decides to be the host of this show for the word he used in perpetuity. In perpetuity. To which my reply was, so, I am now the host of this show, and whatever I can't do, I will bring in other people in here to address topics, and I got help. Got some help, so I will not be doing this alone. It's going to be a community thing. It's a shared thing. So, if you see Imam Hazm, all of the viewers who've been following this show for the past 6 years that he's been host, and so the 3 viewers out there who've been watching him, you know, the 3 of you, you know, if you see, I'm sorry, but he go bye-bye. So, he go bye-bye. But anyway, if you see him out on the streets, do this, and he'll know what you mean. If you see him at a red light, do this. If you are in a business meeting with this man, do this, and he will know what you mean. So Imam Hazm, seriously, thank you for hosting this show for 6 years and representing our community and sharing Islam, you know, in a clear, concise fashion that our viewers can learn our religion, you know, in a practical fashion. So thank you. So we're gonna keep it moving and do our show.
Okay.
So Quranic Expressions by Muslim Women is this is our fifth our fifth segment. Mm-hmm. So for this segment, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take a verses from the Quran, and we're each gonna share how we individually relate to them. But we're gonna focus on parables in the Quran this time. So let's go ahead and start. And before we do the parables, I want to read this verse that pertains to similes. It's verse 2. It reads, God disdains not to use the similitude of things, lowest as well as highest. Those who believe know that it is true from their Lord, but those who reject faith say, what means God by the similitude? By it he causes many to stray, and many he leads into the right path. But he causes not to stray except for those who forsake their path. So we're gonna share some a similitude in the Quran, and the first one is verse 3, chapter 3, verse 59, which reads, "The similitude of Jesus before God is that of Adam. He created him from dust, then said to him, 'Be,' and he was." Mm-hmm. Who wants to take that first?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Basically, what I get from that is that Allah is saying that, you know, because Jesus was born without the agency of a man, and you know, it's a miracle, and people, you know, want to attribute Jesus' birth, alayhi salam, to Allah as being his father, which he's the father of us all, but they wanted Jesus to be the son of God, and which he is, but not in the sense that people think of it. And so because of the miracle of Jesus' birth, man at that time felt that it had to have been God that impregnated her, and which he did, but not in the sense of how men think of it. And so he's saying the same way that he created Adam, which there was no man nor woman there when he was created. He just said be, and it was. So it was the same thing with Jesus. When he created Jesus, he said be, and it was. And so even though there was a woman involved this time who, because that's the way, this is the way human beings were now coming into the world, was through the agency of a man and a woman. But this was a miracle, and this was, and even the way he had her set up, and I mean, there was no one could get to her, to do anything, so, and and she was a pure woman. She wasn't some woman that, was doing anything that would be unrighteous. And so when she came to the people and said that this is from God, and and that she's she hasn't done anything wrong, Allah is just letting man know that I created Adam from that. You don't question that, you don't call him the son of God, but then I create Jesus, and now he becomes, my son, which is a whole nother topic and a whole nother subject. So that's what I get from that, is that it's just, Allah just saying, I created Adam out of, with no human being around. And so why, so Jesus is the same thing. He's just he just came through another vessel. Yeah, so that's what I get from that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nailah?
Well, pretty much the same thing in terms of the similitude, but I kind of see this as a lot using logic in a sense, because Jesus, may Allah be pleased with him, his birth was a miracle. His birth was a miracle by any stretch of the imagination, and so it's almost it's not surprising that people made him or see him as from a divine nature, or give a divine nature to him, because not only was he a miracle birth, he was also performing miracles himself by the grace of God. And so that's so it people who may not understand I can see how they could quite simply see that this man is something more than a man. And he was a messenger. He was a messenger of God, and he brought God's word, so he was no ordinary man by any stretch of the imagination. So the way I see it is that Allah is giving using logic, because if you look at that, and you can see how someone can go in that direction. But then if you look at the creation of Adam, and Adam being created from dust, being created from clay, and so if a person is thinking in that way, thinking in a logical way, it's actually a very logical way to understand it, because it is difficult for the mind to comprehend a birth from a virgin. It's difficult. It's difficult to comprehend. But if you can comprehend that Allah creates in ways that we could never imagine, and that the birth of Jesus was simply one of his miracles, and one of his signs of his majesty, and that essentially that he can do whatever he pleases, and that nothing is beyond him. And so not even creating the original creation, and then on down the line. So that's what I get.
Okay. Yeah, same thing here. In terms of a scientific miracle, if you're just looking at it from a science from the science of it, well, period. Just in terms of a miracle, creating something from nothing, no parents, creating people from no parents is a much greater miracle than creating people from one parent. Jesus, peace be upon him, he at least had one parent. He had a mother. Adam and Eve, they had zero parents, but yet they were brought into creation. So in terms of miracles, that's even more of a miracle.
Yeah.
But yet we weren't commanded to worship them, But it seems like for some reason, people don't look at their creation as more of a miracle than the birth of a miracle from someone with one person. So it's just interesting. So, but yeah, it's logic. It's like pointing to, hey, this is more of a miracle than that. But yet you were not commanded to worship Adam and Eve. So,
right, the miracle is mine. Like that's like
yes,
this is my miracle.
He's a miracle. He can do as he pleases. But it seems like that apple just made people look down on Adam and Eve. And it's like they were created. Yeah, she's taking more. She's taking more of the brunt.
Right.
But it's like people kind of have this stain upon them.
Yeah.
So, but they're not looking at the miracle of how they were created from nothing. But that was a miracle.
Yes, it was. It was.
Okay. Let's look at chapter 7, verse 176. This similitude reads, If it had been our will, we should have elevated him with our signs, but he inclined to the earth and followed his own vain desires. His similitude is that of a dog. If you attack him, he lolls out his tongue, or if you leave him alone, he still lolls out his tongue. That is the similitude of those who reject our signs. So relate the story, perchance they may reflect. Nailah, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
This one, I haven't reflected on this very much, and so when I read it, what comes to mind is the just mostly the dog that lolls his tongue. Makes me think of your poem. But in terms of, anytime I say that, that's what I think of. But what that makes me think of is what I think Allah is saying is that regardless of if someone is going to reject, or someone is going to chooses to disbelieve, or have disbelieved for so long, or been so obstinate that he just lets them go astray, or leaves them off on their own, that no matter what's said to them, no matter what signs they're given, no matter what's recited to them, they're just going to have the same affect, the same reaction that they would if someone was telling them lies, or telling them things that weren't true. So whether it's true or not, you're going to have the same reaction. It's just going to have a kind of the visual I have is like a blank stare, like just a blank stare, like it doesn't matter. Right. So yeah, that's what I get from that.
Okay.
The same thing. I was thinking the same thing, and when it says that we should have elevated him with our signs, so Allah is saying that if he would listen and followed the signs, that he would elevate him, and he would become the great person that Allah wants man to become. But man is inclined to want to do what everybody else is doing instead of following what God has said. And so with that, he's not trying to hear whatever message is being said, So again, like you said, no matter what you say to him, he's still going to have that blank stare, and it's like he can't hear he's not hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but Allah is saying, so relate the story, perchance they may reflect. So they may, if you keep telling them, they may come around and decide to give it some reflection and think about it. But he's really saying that no matter what you do, they're not going to listen to you. But perchance, if you keep talking, they may come around. So that's what I get from it.
Or maybe it's they another they.
Another day.
Just
Right.
keep telling the story. Somebody might listen.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. This when I was writing my book, I did a chapter about different parables in the Quran.
Right.
So this was my favorite one, and it made me think of. It made me think of a couple of things. It made me think of the young cats on the street corners who are just how they're clinging to their own vain desires. Like they some people just they want to hold on to just foolishness. And they actually enjoy just foolishness.
Right.
They enjoy it, so they want to hold on to it. So like a dog holding on to a bone. It's like so just out there doing nothing, just
holding on to nothing.
Holding on to nothing and loving it.
Right,
Got the headphones on, bopping to nothing, listening to nothingness,
Mhm.
and enjoying nothingness.
Right.
Yeah, and so and also it made me, and also when I first did it, I thought of how you have like these talk show hosts or radio show hosts, and no matter what they say about no matter what they may have a guest that comes on the show. Say, well, I'm speaking of a specific instance. I was listening to the radio, and there was a Muslim from some organization or individual scholar or someone, and they were on one of those right-wing talk shows. So no matter what information they try to present, clear information about Islam, that host had already in his mind, he was already inclined to believe this, no this. So it's like he wasn't even trying to hear. So he was clinging to that bone that no Muslims are this. So no matter what anybody said or nope, this is my bone, I'm holding on to it. So I thought of that too. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
But perchance they may reflect. We have to keep sharing information, So. Okay, we have one more. Verse 2:171 reads, "The parable of those who reject faith is as if one were to shout like a goat herder to things that listen to nothing but calls and cries, deaf, dumb, and blind. They are void of wisdom." I'll go. Okay. Yeah, when you see it puts an image of my head of a farmer calling out the goats and like whatever.
I'm not ready.
Yeah. So and goats are like they have the people that the set saying stubborn as a goat. Is it a goat or a mule?
Mule.
Okay. Well.
Sometimes ghosts can be stubborn.
Goat-headed, people say goat-headed, So it just, that's kind of the same, almost the same as the verse we just covered. Just that some people are just, they're stubborn. They're just stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they, deaf, dumb, and blind, stubborn.
Yeah. What I think of when I read that is there is a goat herder. The sound that they're making it's loud. Like it's loud. It's a very could be even overwhelming. Like you're not gonna miss it.
Right.
And so they can call and cry, but they're that they the sound is loud and powerful, but nothing, no matter what, it's falling on deaf ears, or it's like I think it says to calling to things that listen to nothing but calls and cries, deaf, dumb, and blind, they are void of wisdom. What I think about in essence is the word pointless. That's what comes to mind, is just pointless. And I think that that's important to recognize for us. As Muslims, we're supposed to share our faith and share our religion, but and to do so, incessantly, never stop doing that, but to not internalize anything if we are not able to get people to understand us, or get people to understand where we're coming from, or and certainly not to try and bring people to force people to share our belief, but we have to share our beliefs, but not try and force people into adopting our beliefs, is a better way of saying it. So yeah, pointless. So you still have to do it, but you resign and understand that Allah says that, in my summation, is pointless if they're set on rejecting faith. It doesn't matter how loud or how often or how powerful your call is. So.
Zarinah?
What I was getting from this is that it says, but they listen to nothing but calls and cries. And when you think about a lot of the, especially young people, their music is very loud, and so much of what they, and then people are so into violence and things that are depressing and will make you cry. Some of it, just what it's about. And so it says that they listen to nothing but that. So the person that talks the loudest, because sometimes somebody can be telling the truth about something, and then this loudmouth person comes along, and they're so dominating and overbearing, and so everybody will tend to want to listen to that person rather than listen to that person that's being very calm and just trying to get your attention, touch your soul. And then it's it says because they're deaf, dumb, and blind. They're deaf to the call, to the truth, and then they're just dumb because they don't have any they're not taking the time to try to understand and get a better understanding of what's being said, and then just blind to the truth. You can be blind, not physically blind, but you're just blind to what's really going on around you. Things are happening all around people today, and they don't even see it. They're just blind to it because of all of the falsehood and all the other stuff that's getting their attention, that's loud. So that's what I was getting from that.
Right. The stuff that's the shiny stuff, the loud stuff that's shiny, no substance and all, but it's shiny, it's loud, it's getting their attention.
Bling bling.
Right. So yeah, that I like that. I didn't think of that, but I like that. So I think that's probably all we're going to be able to cover today. So just to remind our audience, the Quran is full of so many parables and similes, and some of them you may run across in your own holy book in the Bible, but just regardless of whatever your faith is, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, just person out there trying to live a good life, these are similitudes that we all can relate to. We've all seen people that may fit into these scenarios, and we all these are just things that relate to humanity. So we're just happy to be here today and share, pieces of our holy book that relate to humanity, and to share it in a way that's practical to not only us, but to you. So thank you for tuning in. And again, Masjid As-Sabur is located at 4926 15th Avenue. We are off of Stockton Boulevard here in Sacramento. Our website, www.masjidassabur.org. And every Friday we have Islamic services, prayer services, Jummah services at 1:30. They're open to everyone, so come out and listen and learn and meet our community. And so welcome again thanks for tuning in again to Islamic Learning with Masjid As-Sabur for our episode 5 of Quranic Reflections by Muslim Women, and we're going to do it again. So, Imam Hazem, thank you. Thank you again for all your support and all of your teachings, your sharing, your representing our community, and for throwing me under the bus. No.
You're looking forward to it. I know.
So thank you very much again for tuning in, and God bless. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We would just like to wish you a happy new year, a happy 2015 from Masjid As-Sabur. Be safe.
Be safe. Have a blessed new year, and remember to remember God often.
And have a prosperous new year. And again, remember God often. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Assalamu alaikum.
I want to remind everyone, Masjid As-Sabur, 4926 15th Avenue. Our new masjid is gorgeous. We just finished planting over 100 plants in front of the masjid. We just got through cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready to clean up all of the wudu stations. And we want you to come and join us. Every Friday, 1:30 p.m., Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are also on the web, www.masjidassabur.org. And we're on Facebook, so please like us. Again, we thank you for your patience and your time. We want to remind you that God truly has a message for you. And we want to remind you that we are here to give you any help that you may need. As God has taught us, He is a merciful God. As long as you come to Him and ask forgiveness, He will forgive you. So no matter where you are in life, there is a hope for change.